There is a good reason to celebrate adulting. And I mean regularly. But in the past, whenever we were on a diet, and that's why we think it's really important that you categorize yourself as this is a keto lifestyle, this is not a keto diet. But a lot of times what we would do is Monday through Friday, stick to our eating plan. Saturday and Sunday was like the party time, the reward for adulting. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And welcome back to our channel. We are super excited that you have joined us. And we were sitting around thinking, it's the beginning of a new year, and a lot of people are just finding keto, carnivore, the proper human diet for the first time. And there are lots of videos out there on how to get started. We have several. We can leave some links for some of them down below. But what we wanted to discuss today is not how to get started on keto, but why do people fail at keto?
And I think it's really important for us to take a look at it. If you're trying to get directions, driving directions, that's one level. But if you go down a road with a bunch of potholes, that is not going to be successful. You're not going to probably arrive at your destination as successfully. So we're hoping that we can save your tires on your keto journey.
So if you're new to our channel, welcome. We have both been keto for over 7 years. I'm 8 years, Rachel is 7 years. And the list that we're going to give you today are not just a bunch of speak. These are all things that we have gone through on our own personal journey, as well as things that many of our coaching clients and subscribers have gone through. So today we're going to give you a list of 10 reasons, plus a bonus, of why people fail at keto or give up on keto. And we're going to start off with number one, and that is lack of preparation.
Absolutely. You do not want to play, what do you want to eat? I don't know, what do you want to eat? When you are getting started and trying to develop consistency. So you want to have grab and go options available on keto.
Now, when we talk about lack of preparation, it is about the food. So you don't have to meal prep, but I would definitely consider meal prepping, having some things that you've already cooked, maybe at the beginning of the week. It could be ground beef, it could be a bunch of bacon, different things like that you can grab so that when you are hungry, you don't go, well, you know what, I don't really want to cook, so I'm just going to run to McDonald's. So having those grab and goes are great. But the other place that people fail at preparation is by not getting rid of the high sugar, overly processed foods that happen to be in their house. Listen, we made the mistake when we bought it. Get rid of it. Throw it out. I don't even want to tell you to go give it to friends and family because they shouldn't be eating that stuff anyway. But go through and do a pantry purge. By doing that pantry purge, it's going to really help you to prepare to eat the proper human diet.
Now, if you live with people who are not keto and are not interested in you've got to have their food in the house, make sure that you're moving it to a lower shelf in your pantry so that it's not constantly tempting you because it's in your eye line.
So number two, inadequate understanding of keto. And I think this is a really big one. A lot of people hear keto and they think it is just eat a bunch of fat, don't eat carbs. But it's more to that. It's understanding the macronutrients of keto. The fact that basically the macronutrients that we consume, that we use for fuel, are protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Now, like I said, when you're eating keto, we are eliminating those carbohydrates. But to eat the proper human diet correctly, you should be eating a moderate amount of protein, a higher fat diet, and an extremely low carb diet. Low carb being under 20 to 30 total carbs for the day. The place that people make a mistake on keto is they're afraid of fat, and they end up eating a high protein, moderate to low fat diet, and that results in stalls and even possibly their blood glucose going up.
It also really makes it a white knuckling of a day, right? Because the fat is the fuel. That's what fuels your day. So your protein that you're consuming is going to fill you up at mealtime, but it is that fat that satiates you between meals.
So if you're wondering, what should my macronutrients look like we said, you should be keeping your total carbohydrates under 20 to 30 total carbs. Along with that, eliminating all of the sugar, the pasta, the grains, the starches, and things like that. So don't pick up a set of Oreo cookies and say, well, 2 Oreo cookies has 14 carbs, and Joe said we can have under 30, so I can have 2 Oreo cookies.
No.
The sugar in there is going to derail you. Those total carbs should be coming from things like your vegetables or your eggs, maybe your coffee, beef liver, things like that. Make sure that you're not just eating a bunch of overly processed food that has carbs, but have the idea of it fits in your macros. So your meat, your fat, and your protein, you should be focusing on fatty meat. Don't eat lean meat without adding a bunch of fat into it. You want to kind of focus on things like ribeye and bacon and lamb, stuff that has more fat in it.
Now, with that said, we've got to touch on number 3 and the problem that can arise when you overeat fat, because it is possible to overeat fat.
And this is a big problem that people have. And I know this is something that I did when I first got started on keto, and that is, keto is a license to eat fat. If you eat too much fat, you're not going to have the results you're looking for. Now, when you first get started on keto, you definitely want to up that fat because you need to switch your body from carb fueled to fat fueled. And that fat is going to do 2 things. Number 1, it's going to become the fuel source for your body. It's going to help your body in that transition, and it is going to fill you up and satiate you. The mistake that people make is, I can eat as much fat as I want. And the next thing you know, they're sitting down and they're eating just sticks of butter for no reason. When I first got started on keto and I was trying to figure out macros and tracking things,
fat coffee,
I'd be at the end of the day going, okay, well, I've kind of hit my protein goals. I've kind of hit my carbohydrate goals. I can't have any more carbs for the day. And I have a bunch of fat, so I need to just eat a stick of butter or throw 6 tablespoons into a cup of coffee. That's not the right answer either. We need to eat fat so that our body has a fuel, but we don't want to overeat that fat. And that is going to be a trial and error thing.
Well, and it also helps, like we were saying in the previous number 2, was when you're eating like fatty cuts of meat, you're not having to think about adding extra fat on top of it. So like you're grilling a ribeye steak, that's going to be like a 1-to-1. You know, if you've got eggs is the perfect 1-to-1. So you don't need to just eat the whites, and you also don't need to only eat the yolks.
Yep. Next up, number 4 is going to be snacking throughout the day.
Yes. So snacking, especially if you're standing up, you're grazing through your kitchen, that's a topping off behavior. And if you are snacking at night and you're laying down, that is just like a comforting, behavioral thing that you're taking on to kind of like fill a boredom issue. So you don't want to be topping off during the day by grazing through your kitchen, and you don't want to be snacking at night. Now, if you feel like I'm bored, there are other things to fill that boredom busting button than just eating. And that's kind of like the journey you have to take, is finding out, okay, what would be a better investment of my mental energy if it's just not enough for me to watch TV and do nothing else when I'm in bed at night.
So what's the problem with snacking? Well, there's a few things. When you snack, every time you grab a snack, you're really stopping your body's ability to understand when it is satiated and when it is truly hungry. The bigger problem with snacking is every time you snack, every time you put some food in your mouth, you're going to have an insulin reaction. Certain foods create a higher insulin reaction than others, but whatever you eat is going to create an insulin reaction. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. It is a growth hormone. You cannot lose weight in the presence of insulin. Now, we need insulin because, like I said, it is a growth hormone, so we need insulin, but we want to control the amount of times a day that we are releasing insulin. So especially if you are like a type 2 diabetic, or you're a borderline diabetic or something like that, and you're trying to get that under control, the last thing you want to do is constantly have those insulin reactions, because we're trying to make you more insulin sensitive instead of insulin resistant. So a lot of times when people get started on keto, and I know I was guilty of this, they would be like, well, it's okay to have a few nuts. It's okay to have a mozzarella stick. It's okay to have a little bit of beef jerky throughout the day because they're keto friendly. But again, every time you put something in your mouth, you're having that insulin reaction. So the best course of action is always going to be to eat 2 to 3 meals a day and eat until you are comfortably stuffed, comfortably full. You don't want to overeat, but you want to eat enough food that is going to get you to the next meal so that you don't have to snack in between them.
So another potential pothole in your keto journey is trusting the labels, particularly the front of a label. And like we've shared this before, but what started us actually reviewing products was when we made the decision to start using avocado oil mayonnaise. And that was a big like change in our purchasing, right? That was an investment for us to go from like the regular mayonnaise to avocado oil mayonnaise. And it was one day we were cooking in the kitchen and we were like halfway through of a container of Hellmann's avocado oil mayonnaise, and I just happened to like turn over the label. It said avocado oil on the front. I turned over in the back and saw that it wasn't exclusively avocado oil, but it was a blend of different oils. And I was so frustrated that I felt like, we had been swindled, but the responsibility was really on me as a consumer to make sure that what the pretty label is promising is what's actually being delivered in the ingredients.
Now, I do want to take a little side note and say that though what started our product reviews was avocado oil mayo, we do want to state that eating a seed oil has nothing to do with keto.
No.
Eating a seed oil like Hellmann's mayonnaise or using canola oil with cooking is not going to knock you out of ketosis. However, it is not a healthy fat to consume. And we are seeing more and more people, even outside of keto, even politicians and other health experts talking about to ditch the seed oil. So seed oils are not a keto thing, it's a health thing overall.
It's
but it is
thing.
What started us. When I got started on keto, there were not a lot of packaged product foods out there. So this wasn't as a big deal 8 years ago as it is now, where big food companies were like, hey, we need to do something because they've stopped buying our potato chips. They've stopped buying our candies. So let's come out with this keto line. And a lot of these companies are slapping keto on the front of the bag. But then when you turn it over and look at the ingredients, you're like, these are not very keto-friendly foods. When you pick up a package of coconut clusters in Costco, and on the front it says keto, and then when you flip it over the back and the third ingredient is sugar, that's not a keto-friendly food, regardless of the amount of carbs that are in there. And that's what we're talking about with trusting the labels. We have to become knowledgeable on ingredients. We have to not just trust the front of the bag, but turn it over and look at the back. And then also look at the companies they're putting out there. Just because it's keto doesn't mean it's good. We always say the best keto packaged products come from people who are eating a ketogenic lifestyle, created a product for themselves, and then decided, let other people experience this as well. Things like Keto Chow and Keto Break, Scrummy Sweets, things like that.
The
Carnivore Bar. Not the things that are coming from General Mills and stuff like that. So before we move on to number 6, I want to take a brief moment to invite you to please make sure if you are getting any kind of value out of our videos, out of our channel, make sure that you are liking our videos, subscribing, sharing them with other people. And if you want to really support us, consider buying us a cup of coffee with the link down below. Now on to number 6. And that is going to be over-consuming these pre-packaged keto foods, and we're going to add into that even homemade keto desserts.
So we think it's important that you have something that you can use to like celebrate your birthday, celebrate your anniversary. Maybe you want to bring a dessert of some sort to a potluck, and we're absolutely pro having grab and go convenience food, right? Like that's a necessary thing. So we make keto treats. We have recipes, tons of recipes on twocrazyketos.com that we've made of different fat bombs and mug cakes and all of these things. And certainly we like prepackaged food. We're going to be going on a cruise this week, and we like to bring some things with us because there's not going to be necessarily a dessert that's for us on the ship that the ship is preparing. So we want to bring some keto-friendly like treats with us. However, if that is something that you are using on the daily, it's going to seem right and reasonable that that will stall your progress, because that is not nutrition. That is just something that is less bad, keto friendlier than the snacks and the cookies and breads and things like that we used to eat pre-keto.
Yeah, there's really two big problems with consuming a lot of prepackaged foods. Number one, as Rachel said, there's not a lot of nutrition in them. Okay, and so because they tend to be sweet, we don't necessarily have a shutoff valve for them. Like even like a keto friendly chocolate, I could eat and eat and eat and eat
Sure.
that, but I cannot eat and eat and eat chicken wings or steak or even bacon. Like you're going to have more of a shutoff valve for those animal fat and animal proteins. So that's one of the reasons we have to make sure we're not over consuming them. The other problem is because many times that these are sweet dessert items, they've got these sweeteners in them, but they tend to be higher in fat because we know that fat brings flavor.
Right.
And so the next thing you know, like we have a recipe even for a cinnamon roll mug cake. Well, that cinnamon roll mug cake, which is absolutely delicious and very good keto ingredients, has like a lot of fat. And if I remember right off the top of my head, it has somewhere around 450 calories in that little mug cake. Well, we're not a big proponent of counting calories, but if you're looking at calories overall, and let's say you're trying to say somewhere around 1700 calories, would you rather eat like 3/4 of a pound of ground beef or a mug cake? Now, a lot of us are going to say the mug cake, but which one is going to give you all of the nutrients that you need? So we need to make sure we're not overeating that. That's going to bring us to number 7. And this, I think, is a huge mistake, and it's directly related to the last two, and that is not following a total carb protocol.
And this can take us back to reading the labels. Like, remember, these companies, like, they're not our friend. They're a business. And the whole reason for the business, like for Nabisco or, you know, like all of these other companies, is to make money. Like, it's not personal. It's just business. And so if they can leverage what Dr. Atkins started like years ago, which was a way to sell product, if you want to have a carbohydrate count of, like, let's say the magic number is 20, which in a lot of books, you've seen that they've talked about a ballpark is under 20 carbs. Well, if they can create like a net carb protocol, all you're going to do is you're going to take the total carbs, subtract the fiber, maybe subtract sugar, alcohols, and then come out with this net carb protocol that can take something that is sometimes 30, 40 total carbs and bring it down to like 2 or 1.
So understand, net carbs is a made up thing by the food industry to sell us products.
Yeah.
Now, are there certain types of carbohydrates that our body does not use for fuel? Yes. Like the fibers in vegetables, your body's not going to use that as fuel. Okay. We can even look at things like sugar alcohols and allulose and things like that. The real problem with following that net carb over the total carb protocol is we can overindulge, especially with all of the keto products that we were talking about. I can easily take 200 total carbs and turn it into 0 net carbs. And again, if we're doing that, we also have to look at how much overeating am I doing of fat. Remember back at the beginning of this video where we said overeating fat? Well, if you're looking at something like a packaged product and it has 25 total carbs, but it only has 2 net carbs, and you're following a net carb protocol, you can easily justify to yourself that, hey, I can have 4 of those because my net carb count is still going to be low. So by having a total carb count, you are going to actually put a cap on it. Now, some products out there, you may even say like, well, that means I could never have this. Our solution for that was always have one day during the week where you want to maybe indulge in a little bit more of a dessert, still keeping it with keto-friendly foods, where I'm going to go, today I'm going to allow myself a total of 40 total carbs, but no more than 15 or 20 net carbs. That gives you that one day where you can maybe overindulge, but not too overindulge.
So number 8 is not properly managing your electrolytes.
This is a big one. So a lot of times when we get started on keto, we don't understand the whole electrolyte thing. See, when you're eating the standard American diet, you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, you have higher glycogen stores. When you start keto, your body releases a lot of those glycogen stores, and along with that goes our electrolytes. So when you're on a ketogenic lifestyle, you really need to make sure you are consuming enough electrolytes. And you can do that several ways. Number one, you need to make sure you're consuming enough sodium. And I know for me, this was a difficult one coming into keto because I was taught salt is bad.
Right.
And unfortunately, in this country, we have demonized the wrong white crystal. Instead of demonizing sugar, we have demonized salt. And I highly recommend the book called The Salt Fix. I'll leave a link for it down below where you can learn more about that. So number one, we need to make sure we're consuming enough sodium. And then we need to either A, consume a lot of high electrolyte foods, like for potassium and things like that, like avocados, but we also have to manage our carbs in there. And then also using products like Salty, because those are going to help give us the correct electrolytes in the proper ratios. The biggest electrolyte we need to make sure we're consuming is that sodium, then the potassium, as well as magnesium. And what happens is a lot of times people get started on keto, they completely ignore their electrolytes, and they end up, number one, with the keto flu, which is a result of a combination of lack of electrolytes and also the withdrawal from carbohydrates. But then also you end up getting headaches, muscle cramps, things like that, and you're like, this doesn't work, and people end up quitting. Number 9. This is a big one. Having cheat days / drinking keto-friendly alcohol.
There is a good reason to celebrate adulting. And I mean regularly. But in the past, whenever we were on a diet, and that's why we think it's really important that you categorize yourself as this is a keto lifestyle, this is not a keto diet. But a lot of times what we would do is Monday through Friday, stick to our eating plan. Saturday and Sunday was like the party time, the reward for adulting. And when we have those days in the week where we're eating like not keto food and we're like going back the way we used to eat, it really takes a toll on our journey and it causes a lot of problems when it comes to recovery.
So there's 2 problems. As we mentioned earlier, when we eat, we're having an insulin reaction. When you look at a cheat day, and this is something that you'll see people call carb cycling, there's all cyclical keto, there's
Nicer
all kinds of words for it. Here's the thing. It takes 2 to 3 days for your body to go from eating the carbohydrates and using them as fuel to having the fat and getting back into that ketogenesis and ketosis. So understand ketogenesis is the act of your body using ketones or producing ketones for fuel. Ketosis is the act of your body using ketones for fuel. We want to be in ketogenesis, not ketosis. Well, you want both, but you want to be getting those ketones from the food you're eating where your body is making them, not consuming them through exogenous ketones. So it takes 2 to 3 days for that to happen. So what happens is a lot of times people get started on keto. They say, I'm going to eat keto 5 days a week, and then I'm going to eat carbohydrates in the standard American diet for 2 days a week. So you eat keto for 5 days, then the weekend comes, you eat a bunch of carbohydrates, and then on Monday you go back to keto. But now 2 to 3 days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Wednesday, if you're lucky, you're back into ketogenesis, you're back onto being fat-fueled and ketone-fueled, and then you're going to do that for maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then go back and cheat again on Saturday. You're not going to get the results you're looking for. If you are trying to, number one, if you're trying to lose weight, a cheat day, which we don't even like the word cheat, but that cheat day should be 6 months to a year away minimum from when you get started. Right. Minimum, okay? Because it's going to take you that long. It's going to take you about 3 months for your body to really become efficient at using fat for fuel. Your body will get into ketogenesis in the first few days, but to really get efficient at using that fat, become fat adapted, that's going to take 3 to 6 months. So if you're trying to lose weight, first of all, we don't agree with cheat days. We don't like the term cheat day, but it should be a minimum of 6 months to a year from when you get started. The other thing is alcohol. You're going to see a lot of people talk about zero carb alcohol, keto-friendly alcohol. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a keto-friendly alcohol. Okay, because even if it's zero carbs, like vodka, gin, rum, the 0 or 1 carb seltzer waters like Truly's, things like that, are they low in total carbs? Yes. Are they low in sugar? Yes. But understand that every time you consume alcohol, your body stops doing everything else to deal with that alcohol, and that takes 1 to 2 days, depending on how much alcohol you drink. So when you consume that alcohol, your body is no longer burning fat, it is no longer creating ketones, and it is no longer using any carbohydrates that you may have had when you had that alcohol. So if you're drinking alcohol maybe even every other day or once every 3 or 4 days, understand that next 1 to 2 days, your body is not producing ketones. Even if your ketone meter says your ketones haven't gone down.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it. That just means that your body has ketones in the blood. But remember, your body won't use those ketones so long as it has the alcohol. That's why it doesn't go down. So again, alcohol, if you're going to consume it, it should be on a very rare occasion, and definitely not if you are actively trying to lose weight on keto.
So next up, and I believe this is number 10, is going to be not managing your stress and sleep. And this is so important. 80% of your good choices should be made in the kitchen. It's nutrition. Nutrition absolutely is going to help fix a lion's share of things. It's even going to help you to have the mental clarity to deal with some stress, and it's going to give you a better night's rest. But you still need to prioritize proper sleep, and you need to prioritize managing stress. You're not going to be able to outrun the stress of life. You're going to have to manage it.
And that's going to bring us to our bonus. And the bonus one, listen, I think this is a big one. It should be right up at the beginning. But the bonus is community, not being in community. Eating just in general is hard enough.
Yeah, it is.
Living life is hard enough. But when you're trying to have an eating lifestyle that a lot of people, whether it be your friends, your family members, your co-workers, your church members, your doctors, your boss, a lot of people just don't understand the proper human diet because we have been brainwashed to think fat is bad, red meat is bad, you need to eat vegetables. You see a big push in mainstream media that we should all be eating vegan lifestyles, that we should all be, not consuming animal meats, that it's not healthy for us. So when you have all of these people on the outside going, what you're doing is wrong, you need somebody to help lift you up. And that's why being in community is so important. It has been documented that to change your lifestyle, to be successful, whether it be for weight loss or other health improvements, it is always done better and you get better results when you do it in community. That's even why years ago, clinics like Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem and even the original Weight Watchers, when they actually had buildings, one of the reasons they were successful is you met in a group. You sat down, you talked together about your struggles for the week.
So we've got a great community that you can step into today.
For free.
For free. You do not have to wait for a community. You do not need to search for it. Go join our Mighty Networks group. It is such a great life-giving space. We do have the Two Crazy Ketos family group on Facebook, but I'm going to tell you, if you want to lean into community, join our Mighty Networks.
Well, that is going to be the end of today's video. Now, let us know down in the comments section. Do any of these 10 things resonate with you? You may be doing 8 out of 10 perfectly.
Yeah.
But if there's 1 or 2 that maybe you're looking at going, well, I could be doing that better. That could be the thing that if we don't handle it could lead us to quitting. Again, I think one of the biggest ones that a lot of people overlook is that sleep and stress. They're like, well, I'm doing everything else perfectly, but we're not looking at the sleep and stress. So let us know down in the comments which one of these resonates you. And if you have another one that we haven't listed, put it down below in the comments so that other people can also learn from that. Now, if you like seeing videos like this, take a look at the video we have linked right over there. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video that I'm going to put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time.
Bye.